What does it mean to be a digital creator? Whether you're working with language or sound or images or music or video, you probably have a process where you get inspired and then you get very focused and then you make something. And when you're done, you save it, you bounce it, you export it, and it's sealed in time. And it moves down the conveyor belt and it gets distributed as a fixed linear thing. And as the creator, you turn the page, you shake your Etch-a-Sketch, and you do it all again. But in voice, we're not just making content. We're launching live products, each tailor-made to enable the conversations and experiences that we've designed. And each built upon a technical foundation that's in a constant state of motion and evolution. In voice, the creativity and the technology are inseparably intertwined. As voice creators, we wear a lot of hats. We're creative writers and cloud architects, conversation designers and sound designers, developers and linguists, dreamers and builders. We think deeply about how people speak, and we sculpt language and sound to convey emotion. Creating for voice means threading a needle between all of these disciplines, and then some. We don't just build apps. We're creating characters, and we bring them to life in words and in sound and in code. More and more, consumers don't know where things come from. They just care if a need is being fulfilled. Like Uber Eats presenting options by dish type rather than by restaurant, or Pandora playing something mellow, or Apple's new TV app, which intermixes content from streaming services and networks all in one experience. Except for Netflix, of course, which said, no thanks, we're good. In all of these examples, the brand has become abstracted, the source less important than the product itself and the need it fulfills. So let's talk about skills. And I'm using that term as the Kleenex of voice apps. Today, the Alexa Skills Store and the Google Actions Directory feel a lot like the App Store. Products are organized by functional category. They have ratings. They're displayed on shelves and featured on banners. And just like the App Store and unlike the web, everything in the catalog has been certified by each platform to meet explicit guidelines around content and policy, security, functionality, and user experience. And just as the muscle memory of our fingers have learned exactly where to tap to launch our favorite apps, we've all been tasked with learning and hopefully remembering explicitly what to say to launch our favorite skills. And also, just like apps, skills are sandboxed. They exist in a silo, but the walls are crumbling. First, there was can fulfill intent from Amazon and implicit invocation from Google, both attempts at connecting customer requests with skills that they didn't know existed. And then came Viv and Bixby with a fundamentally different worldview of how one master assistant should draw from a modular inventory of what capsules know and what they can do. And most recently at Remars, Amazon gave us a preview in the evolution of their vision with Alexa conversations and cross-skill goal completion. The trend is clear. In all of these cases, the assistant layer is increasingly serving as an air traffic controller for a user's conversation, flying in bits of content and functionality as needed. So these funnels aren't necessarily about exposing new users to the holistic experience that you've designed. They're about connecting them to a particular capability within your skill that serves a contextual need in a conversation that was taking place outside the walls of your skill. In other words, software and services are getting sliced and diced, intents are becoming reusable cogs and potentially becoming white-labeled and commodified. In the same way that AWS reimagined cloud infrastructure for developers as infinitely scalable digital Legos, or primitives, as Ben Thompson has written about at Stratechery, voice is reimagining what it means for consumers to use apps, abstracting the source in service of more seamlessly fulfilling a need. A world of siloed, self-contained skills is shifting to a world of on-demand functional primitives. So if you sell a product or provide a service, you better be thinking hard about how you'll connect with voice customers who express what they need done, but not necessarily who they want to do it, because the assistant platforms will be doing the disambiguation here. And as even more providers emerge with overlapping capabilities, voice search that's transactional in nature will become a major battleground in the coming years. So what does this all mean for creativity, for media, for content, in terms of how we make it and how we find it? Today, we click and tap screens to find stuff, and we scroll around, and we process a lot of visual information very, very quickly, like thumbnails and titles and captions. And once we decide on something, we're still not satisfied. We scrub through it. We navigate through network, show, season, episode, genre, artist, album, song. We've all been trained to think in hierarchy, and the entire media industry is organized around it, from creation to distribution. And while aggregators and playlists and feed-based networks have challenged this structure, consumers still choose with their eyes. But discovery with our ears is a different beast entirely, because speech is inherently linear. We can't speak two things at once, and neither can our assistants. So perusing the endless abyss of choice that we all wade through every single day is far less efficient without our eyes, especially when we don't quite know what we're looking for, or when we do know what we want, but we don't quite know what it's called. Today, voice developers are plagued by users expressing themselves in ways not captured in their interaction models or training data. And customers are plagued by describing things in ways that make sense to them, yet still not getting back what they want. In a voice-first world where exact titling and hierarchy is more opaque, traditional metadata is too one-dimensional. So for assistants to achieve cultural fluency, we'll need a new class of conversational metadata, going beyond describing what a thing is to capturing what makes it unique. Ongoing advancements in machine learning are filling this gap considerably with things like transcription and computer vision and sentiment analysis, giving a deeper level of context to media assets than ever before. But culture is nuanced, and so are the ways we describe it. What about vibe? How it feels? The essence of what makes it special? Or even more nuanced than that, the societal and cultural context for why it matters. Some of the most exciting innovation in this area is happening around music. A common example is lyrics. Alexa, play that song that goes, "Love is all you need." Or take the Music Genome Project, envisioned by the founders of Pandora nearly 20 years ago to capture the essence of music at its most fundamental level. They assembled a small army of musicologists to listen to every piece of recorded music in their catalog and to tag each track from over 450 genes. Some are subjective, like specific instrumentation or primary genre, but it's the subjective genes tagged by individuals with an encyclopedic knowledge and primal love of music that gave Pandora its secret sauce. Audio Burst in Tel Aviv is on a similar mission to index and understand the world's increasing supply of audio, from broadcasters to podcasters. But they're taking it a step further. Not only are they seeking to understand this content at a molecular level, they're slicing and dicing it and lifting it from the context in which it originated and serving it up in new places. Sounds familiar, right? In the same way that voice is reimagining consumer software into functional primitives, it's doing the same for media, reimagining linear expressions of creativity into cultural primitives to be flown in as needed in new contexts with nuance and precision. But despite how many things we've all already made that are lurking in the shadows, just waiting to be rediscovered from the archives, the question that drives me the most in this grand experiment that we've all found ourselves in, given everything that we've talked about today, is what does it mean to be a voice-first creator, to produce voice-native content, to dream in modular creativity? So if you're a creator or a brand, a media company or a publisher, you need to be asking yourself, what are your cultural primitives? And what are you doing to set them free? Because if you don't, you'll be left out of the conversation. Thanks.